Before we begin, tell me where you're listening from. What city or country is holding you right now? I read every comment, and it reminds me we're not alone in these stories. Now take a breath, and let me tell you the story of the caregiver's burnout. I spent 8 years of my life caring for my mother. I bathed her, I managed her medications, I canceled my dreams to be her advocate, her nurse, her companion. I watched the light in her eyes dim and did everything to keep it flickering. My siblings, they were busy. They sent thoughts, prayers, and the occasional fruit basket. 2 weeks after the funeral, they swooped in. They gathered in her clean, empty house, the house I'd maintained, and my brother, the lawyer, slid a piece of paper across the table. So, we've had the estate evaluated. Given the disparity of contribution, we feel a 50, 25 to 25 split is fair. You get the half, of course. He said it like he was granting me a bonus, like my 8 years were a job he kindly overpaid. The 50% was the house. The 25% were the liquid assets, the savings, the investments. They took the money and left me with the walls that echoed with every sacrifice I'd made. They didn't want her. They just wanted her stuff. This is the caregiver's burnout. And if you think family is a bond of blood and loyalty, you haven't seen it become a corporate raid on your depleted soul. The betrayal doesn't begin with the will. It begins in the sacred, silent space of the sick room. You are the one who is there. The doctor's appointments blur together. You learn medical jargon, insurance loopholes, how to lift a frail body without causing pain. Your own life contracts to the 4 walls of their home. Your career stalls. Your friends drift away. Your world becomes pills, pureed food, and the soft, labored sound of their breathing at night. Your siblings, they are on standby. They call on Sundays. They visit on holidays, bringing a gust of normalcy and perfume that clashes with the scent of antiseptic. They say, "You're a saint. I don't know how you do it." They say, "Let me know if you need anything." And you, drowning in the daily need, foolishly believe the offer is real. The hook is the delegation of duty disguised as trust. You're just so much better at this than we are. Mom is most comfortable with you. They anoint you the sole caregiver, not out of respect, but out of convenience. They outsource the emotional and physical labor, keeping their hands clean for their real lives, their promotions, their vacations, their intact marriages. You start to justify their absence. They have kids. They live farther away. You become the family martyr, a role you never auditioned for, but now wear like a lead coat. Every missed birthday, every canceled plan, every night of exhaustion is a deposit you're making into a family bank of goodwill you assume they're keeping track of. Then, the death. The strange, hollow quiet after the final breath. The betrayal accelerates in the stunned silence of loss. While you are numb, processing a grief that is both profound and strangely liberating, they spring into a new kind of action. They arrive with spreadsheets, not sympathy. They talk of assets and liquidation while you're still washing her nightgowns. The will is read. Maybe it's equal, maybe it's not. But equality after years of inequality is the ultimate injustice. We all loved her equally, so we should inherit equally. This is their mantra. They equate their monthly phone calls with your years of servitude. They rewrite history, painting your sacrifice as a choice you made, while their distance becomes unavoidable commitment. The true hook is the financialization of your love. They translate your years of care, the sleepless nights, the dignity preserved, the love given, into a line item, a disparity of contribution to be settled with a slightly larger share of the house while they walk away with the clean, easy cash. They claim they are being fair, but their fairness is a cold, mathematical equation that deliberately omits the variables of time, soul, and life given. They don't see a daughter who lost a piece of her life. They see a service provider who might need to be compensated a little extra to avoid a scene. You gave them the gift of a clear conscience, freeing them to live their lives, and they return the favor by auditing your grief and taxing your inheritance. The unraveling is the slow motion shattering of every family myth you clung to during those long, lonely nights. First, the family narrative is rewritten. At the funeral, you're the devoted daughter. By the reading of the will, you're suddenly emotional, complicated, maybe even a little controlling. Whispers start. Did she influence Mom? She was there every day. Who knows what she might have said? Your greatest act of love is retroactively framed as a potential scheme. Your grief becomes illegitimate. Your exhaustion, your trauma from watching a parent die, your lost years, all of it is drowned out by the practical matters of the estate. You're not allowed to just be sad. You have to be a negotiator while mourning the loss of the family you thought you had. The possessions become battlegrounds. The simple act of dividing personal effects, the jewelry, the photo albums, the furniture, becomes a proxy war. The vest you bought for her every birthday is now a valuable antique. The book you read to her is now part of the library collection. Every object is stripped of its memory and assessed for its market value. You're not taking a memento. You're claiming an asset. The isolation becomes absolute. Extended family, not wanting to take sides, urge family harmony. They tell you, don't let money destroy the family. But the family was destroyed the moment your siblings saw you not as a sister, but as a custodial employee asking for too much severance pay. Your pain is an inconvenience to the funeral potato salad and false unity. You question your own reality. In the face of their collective business-like conviction, you spiral. Was I wrong? Was I exploited? Or did I exploit the situation? Did I do it for love? Or was there some secret, unworthy hope of reward? Their revisionism is so confident it gaslights your own experience. The ground of your memory turns to quicksand. The financial aftermath is a silent scream. You are left with the illiquid asset, the house, filled with ghosts and maintenance needs. They walk away with the cash, free and clear. You are now trapped in a museum of your sacrifice, while they invest their inheritance in their own futures, the very futures you put on hold. The most corrosive part? The destruction of legacy. Your parents' life, their memory, is reduced to a fiscal transaction. The love they gave, the family they built, is now just an estate to be plundered. You realize you weren't just caring for your parent. You were guarding a legacy, and the very people who should have been helping you guard it were the ones waiting to loot it the moment the gates were unattended. You are left with a hollow victory and a bankrupt heart. You won the moral high ground, but it's a desolate, lonely peak. And below, your siblings are toasting their windfall with the life you handed back to them. The awakening doesn't come at the lawyer's table. That's the crime scene. The awakening comes later, in a moment of mundane, brutal clarity. For you, it's at the hardware store. You're in the plumbing aisle, holding a new wax seal for the toilet in your yours house. The old one failed. You're watching a YouTube tutorial on your phone, your hands smudged with grime, and a wave of sheer physical exhaustion hits you. You think of your sister at that moment. She's probably at a spa using part of her inheritance for a hot stone massage. Your brother is likely booking a family vacation to Disneyland. And you are here, on your knees, again, just like you were for 8 years. A calm, icy wave washes over you, quieter than anger, stronger than sorrow. You realize you are not just maintaining a house. You are perpetuating your own burnout. The inheritance wasn't a reward. It was a life sentence to keep tending the monument of your sacrifice. They got freedom. You got a full-time job as the curator of your own martyrdom. In that fluorescent lit aisle, surrounded by nuts and bolts and other people's DIY burdens, the final truth crystallizes. This was never about the money. It was about the exchange rate of care. You invested in a currency of presence, sacrifice, and love. They invested in a currency of absence, convenience, and opportunity. Your 8 years were a priceless treasury in your economy. In theirs, it was a sunk cost, a burden they were glad you bore, freeing up their capital for better investments. The awakening is the serene, devastating understanding. You have been running a family nonprofit while they were silent venture capitalists waiting for the liquidation event. Enough, you whisper, putting the wax seal back on the shelf. You are done being the family's emotional and physical utility, done letting your past sacrifice dictate your future servitude. The fight back begins not with a lawsuit, but with a money strategic withdrawal from the economy they created. You are closing the nonprofit. It's time to go private. The fight back is a deliberate, structured campaign to reclaim your life from the ruins of their transaction. It is about converting your inheritance from a prison into a launchpad. The asset reality check. You meet with a fee-only financial advisor. You assess the house, its true value, its monthly drain, its emotional weight. Is it an asset or an anchor? You look at the numbers coldly, separating sentiment from survival. The relationship ledger. You draw a literal ledger. On one side, you list every person who truly supported you during the care years. The friend who brought groceries, the cousin who listened, the neighbor who sat with mom for an hour. On the other side, you list the siblings. You see in ink where the true equity lies. The Great Liberation Sale. You decide. You sell the house. You hire an estate sale company. You keep 3 small boxes of items that bring you pure joy. Not duty, not guilt, just joy. Everything else is sold. Let the vultures pick at the bones of objects. You are freeing the spirit trapped within those walls. The clean funds. The money from the sale is placed in a new, separate account. This is not mom's money. This is the Freedom Fund. It represents the value of your time, your life, your labor. It is your back pay. The communication downgrade. Your siblings are moved to a business-only communication tier. All communication is via text or email, brief, and pertaining only to essential legacy matters, e.g., final tax documents. You do not share personal news. You do not engage in emotional debates. You become a polite, impenetrable admin. The no as a complete sentence. When they make demands, there's a painting I want, you owe me for, you respond with, that doesn't work for me, or simply, no. You do not justify, argue, defend, or explain. Jade. Your no is a boundary wall, not a negotiation table. The Freedom Fund allocation. A chunk for therapy. To process the complex grief and betrayal trauma. This is non-negotiable maintenance for your soul. A chunk for education, career, reboot, a course, a certification, a down payment on a new venture. You invest in the future you postponed. A chunk for a radical act of joy, a long dreamed of trip, a down payment on a cozy, manageable home that is yours alone. A piece of art you love. This purchase is a ritual to break the curse of sacrifice. The time reclamation. You block off time in your calendar for things you love. Hobbies abandoned, friendships neglected. You treat this time as sacred as the dividend your sacrifice finally pays. You redefine family. Your circle of care is now defined by those on your relationship ledger. These are your chosen family. You invest your time and love here, where the currency is understood. You become an advocate on your terms. Maybe you volunteer one afternoon a month with a caregiver support group, sharing only the lessons that empower others to set boundaries. Early. You use your pain to create a protective map for others, not to reopen your own wounds. The fight back is won not when they admit wrongdoing, they won't, but when you receive a holiday card from them, feel nothing but a mild, distant pity and recycle it without a second thought. Your indifference is your victory. It means you have successfully dissolved the emotional contract they broke long ago. You do not emerge hardened. You emerge sovereign. You are no longer a caregiver. You are the CEO of your own life. And you've just conducted a ruthless but necessary restructuring. Your transformation is from family martyr to legacy architect. You now understand that the greatest inheritance is not an asset, but autonomy. From this, you draft the Sovereign Caregivers Accord. If caregiving begins again for anyone, you call a meeting at the start. You present a care plan that includes a rotating schedule, a shared cost spreadsheet, and a discussion of future estate wishes. You record it. You make the invisible labor visible and the assumed responsibility contractual. If they balk, you know immediately where you stand. You categorize relationships based on proven reciprocal care. Inner circle, reciprocity? Those who show up in action, not just words. Outer circle, transaction. Those who offer only sentiment. The estate vulture, list. Those who appear only at times of gain. For these, you practice radical financial and emotional detachment. You write your own will and advance directives. Now, you appoint an executor outside of any family drama. You are explicit. You leave token amounts to those who failed the care test, with a letter explaining that inheritance is the final testament of a relationship, and yours has already been fully spent. You break the cycle. You schedule self-care like a critical business appointment. Your well-being is the foundation of all you do. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you will no longer let others drink from yours while holding their own full ones. You become financially literate. You understand estate law basics. You consult with professionals. You never again allow yourself to be financially vulnerable or in the dark. Knowledge is armor. In any future loss, you grant your own grief absolute priority over logistics. You delegate the stuff to others or halt all proceedings until you have had the space to mourn. The paperwork can wait. Your heart cannot. This is the core law. Your worth is not determined by your utility to your family. Your caregiving was an act of love, not a bid for stock in the family corporation. Their failure to honor it is a statement on their balance sheet, not your value. You detach your self-esteem from their audit. You are no longer bitter about the inheritance. You are liberated by its loss. The caregiver's burnout didn't leave you with nothing. It left you with everything that is truly yours. Your resilience, your clarified values, your hard-won freedom, and the unwavering knowledge that you loved deeply and honorably when it mattered most. Go and build a life so rich in meaning and peace that their cash windfall seems like the cheap, hollow transaction it always was. Let your well-lived life be the final, unassailable word. So tell me, what do you think? Was she right to choose herself, or did she go too far? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. If this story touched you, please like this video so others can find it too.